Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
All right, welcome back everyone to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. My name is Scott and I'm joined by Rob over there. We've got a big old cup of tea for me and a cup of coffee for Rob because it is 4 a.m. here in the UK. And we've just got done with Monday Night Raw's debut on Netflix. It's been a show that we expected to be a big one. But Rob, I got to say, it was maybe more impressive than I even imagined. What are your kind of instant thoughts as we leave LA here, virtually at least, and head into the post show, which we're going to be talking about in just a moment? But what are your instant thoughts on Raw itself, mate?
Look, I think overall, I thought the show was really good. Really enjoyed the spectacle of it, the way it was done. The cold open, going into Triple H, kind of going straight into The Rock, setting straight off into Roman and Solo's match was a really nice. It led nicely, like piece by piece. I thought that was a perfect open. Like the first hour and a half, it went so quick. I felt like the only thing I didn't like was, I think maybe some of the drone shots, but it's only because one, I think it's one of those they've got trying to get it right and kind of get it, a bit more organized, I guess. But when you watch something that's, I'm assuming is on a 4K camera, and then you go from that, and then you go to something that looks like it was recorded on like through a toaster, the quality is so bad. And obviously, I understand that. And obviously, you're live. Basically, you're live streaming from a GoPro or essentially a drone that's got a camera on it or something. So it's going to be a little different. But they knew they were going to be doing that, and then some shots were good, some shots were bad. So I don't know. That's my only negative to kind of take away from it. I liked everything else about it, other than just some really wild, unnecessary kind of camera angles. Other than that, look, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
No, I agree, man. I think they are trying new things with production, and most of them are hits. And I think even the drone thing itself is a good thing.
It's a hit, yeah.
But as you say, like certain maneuvers on it, it's difficult to control, and certain shots, I guess, when the lighting is in certain ways that, and then jumping into a certain other type of crispy HD or more than HD 4K these days, it really does make the other shots feel out of place, as you say. But when they work very well. It kind of reminds me of just how they went insane with those graphics, those augmented reality graphics they were doing for ages, So some of them were cool, but most of them I wasn't really a fan of. The drone stuff was cool. They didn't overdo that. I think they did that a good amount. As far as the drone stuff outside, I should say, the light show.
Yeah.
But production-wise, there were, again, some new things that we saw tonight. We saw the new stage set up. Again, if we go to a different venue, it might be different anyway. But within this arena, we had the opening Raw, I should say, on Netflix. You had the lower stage, essentially, the lower set. So the fans above it could see. We had that incredible shot we both kind of marked out during the CM Punk entrance, right? Because you had Punk looking right at the camera as it zoomed back out and showed him walking backwards in the aisle. Stuff like that was fantastic. Yeah. Of course, we did see the new logo debuted a few weeks back. I'm a fan of that. I know Lucas was as well. I assume you are.
I really like it.
And we are seeing a difference in the mat. Now, we talked about this on the build-up show. If you want to see our thoughts in a bit more detail, go back and check that out. But essentially what we're saying is there's been a lot of change in WWE in the past few years as far as production goes, and Netflix was a good opportunity for them to try new things. Now, not all of it's going to stick. It'd be interesting to see how much of this, even when it goes to Pyro, we're going to see next week. But generally, as you say, it was good. Now, the things that I had a bit of not an issue with, but coming away from it, I'm thinking, oh no, we didn't get, was no surprises. Didn't get any surprises. but it was still a fantastic show that I come away from it going, I didn't need him. And at the same time, I now think, you know what? It's a bit of breath of fresh air, because now I can go, you know what? Rumble, like that's where surprises belong.
Yeah.
So maybe we're holding out on a few more for the Rumble now.
Yeah, there's that. I think other than obviously the stuff you kind of just said there, that's a surprise. Obviously, Rumble's a great place kind of to do that. I'm hoping that one of the biggest things I take away from this is certain people that have had a very controversial, distasteful kind of aura recently within the wrestling realm. I think they're going to learn not to put them on stage. Hogan is a prime example of.
Good point.
That was the lowest.
The lowest point of the show, without a doubt, was
which is crazy to think, because normally his music comes out and everyone kind of goes bananas.
Yeah.
Now they were, like I said, I literally think he got bigger boos than Dominic Mysterio.
It was not a good
New
look.
Day, even
it was not a good look. And look, we all know the things that surround Hogan over the past few years, and it seems to be getting worse as far as people's opinion of him. There's not much leeway or kind of grace really when it comes to Hogan these days. And whatever side of the fence you sit on when it comes to that, and with some of the stuff you said, there's only one side of the fence to be on if you're a decent human being. It's still weird for WWE to be using him, even though I understand it, the history and stuff like that. I think tonight, as you say, should show them that this cannot be done anymore. Not like this anyway. And like to send him out there to promote his own beer.
I could have done that as an advert.
Yeah, it just felt super out. Look, again, I get what these things are, but we've seen them many, many times before. But that's.
I would also say
that was not good.
I would also say as well, the biggest take from it, yes, obviously the crowd booed Hogan, but is that the reaction you want from someone that's supposed to be a legend in the business on your debut Netflix show?
No, it wasn't.
I mean, even The Rock got a pop, and then the way he left, like, do you know what I mean? In story wise, along, so yeah, I don't know. I think it was. I think they heard the boos and was like, we shouldn't have done this. If it did feel like he got cut off, it's like, end it now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear the notes, that might come out from this as far as backstage reaction and stuff like that. Not great. But let's stick to the positives, Rob. It was a really good show. Now, of course, if anyone really wants to know our actual kind of at the moment instant reaction, check out the watch along stream if you haven't already. If you're watching this on delay, go back and watch our watch along clips, and you'll see our reaction to certain things throughout the show itself. But before we let Rob go, because I know as again time of recording, it's getting about 4 a.m. Rob has been up for 23 hours now. Sorry to remind you, but before I let him go, I'm just gonna quickly run through some of the things we saw on the card tonight and get his kind of quick fire thoughts, and then once he hops out, I'll be taking over solo and we'll be talking about not Sikoa, but we'll be talking about again more of what we saw on Raw and what's going on right now with Raw Talk and its post-show, and if we do get any sort of press conference news as well. So let's start with John Cena. We did see the return of John Cena tonight as expected. Now, he didn't get interrupted. He didn't have any kind of massive thing to say as far as kind of what's actually going to happen with his final year. He hinted at a lot of things, but he did enter himself into the Royal Rumble. So what are your thoughts on this segment with John Cena?
Like the segment. I really liked him playing with the fans. Them announcing a number that it's been like over 2,000 days. That really does make it sound like the thing is they're very clever with that, because it's been 2,000 days since he hasn't won a match, but he's also been away from the company. So yes, it's been that long, but then if that's the case, anyone else that hasn't been there for a long time, Santino Marella, do you know what I mean? That's what, 5,000 days. Do you know what I mean? So I get it. But they're using that kind of story because obviously he's lost a lot. I think it was the last person he lost to, Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, Austin Fury beat him as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, at the moment, live, Cena is on the press conference right now.
So I like that. I think the only thing I'm kind of torn between is I like the idea of him being number one in the Rumble. And if he goes all the way through and wins it, that's great. On one side of it. On the other side of it, though, rightly as you said, does Cena need to win the Rumble again? Not really. Do you know? But then how do you put him in that title picture? So he's already been a Money in the Bank winner as well. So again,
I agree. There's a different story to tell, but it'll be good to see him in the Rumble. As I say, he's currently on the press conference. If he says anything of note, we'll let you know about that, guys. Another thing that was promoted but not really delivered on really was Logan Paul. Yeah, he was there. He was just sitting in a chair. Thoughts on that? Was you disappointed not to have more from Logan Paul?
Yes and no. I think the idea of him doing something on the stage, like I said, the idea of him getting hit with a stunner or something, you know, and him spitting his prime out or something like that would have been great. Would have been a really good visual. Obviously, that's something that you kind of fantasy book and think,
we were diving deep into that sort of stuff.
I thought that'd be a really cool idea, or
some sort of legend moment. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was nothing too special. I think sometimes though, when you've got a star like Logan outside of the company, you know, and then he's in the company, sometimes the appearance there is enough to Logan Paul's here, you know. So I guess that's why they done it. At the same time, I don't think they wanted too much attention on him. I think again to kind of vary on the booze. To be honest though, I would have rather had a Logan Paul promo than the Hogan one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
for sure.
Yeah. Other than that, it was nice for him to be there. It shows that he's still around. I want to see him do a lot more wrestling this year, though.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's get into some of the matches we saw. Of course, the big opener really was all around. Well, we had the Triple H segment, but we also had The Rock in a bit of a thread throughout the early part of the show, really. Basically being a babyface, and that went all the way into the end of the opening match, which was an incredible opener. Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa for the Ula Fala, and the winner was Roman Reigns. No kind of qualms about it, really. Roman Reigns won. I would say it was clean. It definitely worked clean, but clean for a bloodline match. What are your thoughts on this and the way it kind of panned out, and I guess what we saw from The Rock at the end as well?
It felt like a proper typical bloodline rules match now. It kind of seems like that's what they are. Obviously, I loved new and old bloodline kind of being there. Sami Zayn coming out, still being a part of that aura kind of thing. Obviously, winning of Jay at the match tonight as well. So I do like that. I'm intrigued to see where they go from here. Obviously, one with Solo, what's happening. I think there's still more of a story to tell there. I think something's definitely going to happen with The Rock. He didn't put his one up for, obviously, to acknowledge him. He handed the Ula Fala to Roman and kind of just stood in the corner like, I'll buy my time, you know? Yeah. So it felt like there's something there. We don't know what yet, but it felt like a seed could be planted. If you look deep enough, you know?
And we didn't need too much with it, did we? I think because the match was so good, it was we didn't need that storyline progression elsewhere.
And it was nice having the Rock saying that he was a high chief, and obviously the high chief does that kind of thing. So he done a high chief duty to give the Ula Fala back to Roman. So it felt like it was the right thing to do. However, I think there was a lot of he didn't want to do that, you know? He wanted to crown himself. So hopefully we get that story. Again, it's a feud that doesn't need a title. So for them feuding over something else, I think it's perfect.
Yeah, completely agree with what you say. I think it was something that was quite refreshing because it didn't overly rely on certain things as far as, a title and taking a storyline away from someone or anything like that. It was just, it kind of fit. And while we didn't get the, as to say, storyline progression in some areas, that would have been that would have been to make up for a kind of crappy match. Not a crappy,
Yeah.
but, you know, like not a important match, a kind of
Yeah.
crazy over the top finish. And while we kind of got that, it was more about, as you say, kind of getting to the next chapter and having a Rock just kind of subtly being in the background as well. Sticking with the bloodline, though, we saw Jey Uso going up against Drew McIntyre. Really interesting match as far as the way it ended as well. Something that we haven't really seen before. What are your thoughts on Jey Uso picking up the win over Drew?
I honestly thought that Jey Uso was just. We got to a point when when Drew was kind of starting to hammer in the forearms. I was like, are they going to do this thing, an angle where it's just a referee stoppage because Jey physically can't get up? Then they kind of lent into that a little with Drew going to hit the Claymore and Jey just falling. I was like, all right, okay, we're going to go with. He's going to do so many Claymores that he just can't get to his feet.
Yeah.
I thought that's what was going to happen. Then for him to kind of move and then roll him up into like a kind of crucifix pin.
Yeah.
I was so shocked. I just didn't expect it to happen. It was such a out of nowhere moment.
Which is great. That's what you want for those kind of moves, right?
And then Jey looking so startled after, like rolled out and was like, I got the win.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was. Yeah.
He kind of got away with it, but like he was also smart enough to do that in the first place, you know. So he lured him in, and very wise, because they told a great story that distracted us as the viewer, which I think was really clever. So that last moment was so big.
Yeah, exactly that. Because as I said, we were saying like they're gonna go a different route, and then we're thinking so much of okay, that's gonna happen. The crucifix pin was so. You know, it's like it was so simple, like that we've seen so many times back in the day. You know, like an old school, like a roll up pin. Like at one point, I think Cena, when he first debuted, was doing like different roll ups to win his matches.
Yeah.
So to go back and see like Jey now do something like that just to get one win over him, it's like okay, now I'm one up. You know, and if anything, that adds more fuel to the fire to wind up Drew.
Yeah. Yeah.
To go again. So there is something there for that. So
yeah, and it makes Jey look good as well. It kind of fits both their characters to kind of be able to build off of the way this match ended as well. As opposed to when you had like Liv a few years ago somehow beating Ronda and she didn't know how, you know, and it didn't really go anywhere, you know. So
I think as well, this is one of those things where it can lead up to, all right, so you got a pin on me, I'm going to eliminate you from the Rumble. Because then if Drew goes in with one mindset of, I'm going to take you out of the Rumble.
Yeah, or all like, as many members from the bloodline or something like that. Yeah,
yeah, something like that. And I'm going to start with Jey, for example.
Yeah,
it's a nice way to kind of keep them busy. So
cool. And touching on it just a moment ago, definitely in a different kind of period of her career at the moment and doing some of her best work, but unfortunately it was the night that she lost the title. Liv Morgan, of course, defended against Rhea Ripley. Look, for the storyline, I think it was the right thing to do, as much as I've enjoyed what Liv's done with the championship. It'd be interesting to see where we go with both of these women now as they do surely separate. But what was your opinion of the match itself, and are you happy with the result?
Finally, like it's again, as Ripley said in the promo where she was standing with Priest, they injured each other, and then you know she took Dom. She said the final straw was losing the title. It just seemed like her body and Dom weren't as important as how important the title was to her. So her winning it back, I think it was the right move. There's only so far you can go with something, you know, and I think. Again, this could be this moment where Liv could win the Rumble and she's like, I want my title, you know, so we think she's going to go one route towards kind of Ripley, for example. That's something that can be done, and it's someone fresh to kind of win the Rumble. Plus, Ripley won the Rumble last year. No, who won it last year?
Was it Rhea Ripley last year?
Ripley, I think it may have been.
Let's have a look.
I can't remember, but I know she won it. It may have been. I think it may have been because there's
it was Bailey. It was Bailey.
Bailey.
Yeah, Rhea was the year before.
So Ripley was second from last. to go in, like to be thrown out though. I believe. I think she was like last
Right.
one, last three. So she's always kind of around that kind of era, that kind of last couple.
Yeah.
So her being a champion, we don't get that this year, which is really nice because then next time it's going to be feel a bit more fresh. So hopefully, I can see Liv trying to go like, well, I'm going to win the Rumble to win my title back.
Yeah.
I can see it going that way. But yeah, it's just nice to see it.
Yeah, Liv winning the Rumble would be different as well, because although she's an established star, it is something that's different, something that's new. So, not a bad shout there. But again, great match overall. And then, of course, we get to the main event, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Again, talk about a match that I didn't expect to deliver in the way it did. This was fantastic. And I think that's the common thing for all of the matches on this show. They were all PLE quality. And this is a match that's been built up for so many years, or at least just over a year if you're counting WWE's recent kind of form at least. But what are your thoughts, mate, on this main event? And did it close the Raw Netflix debut in the way you hoped?
Not in the way I thought it was going to close. I'm shocked that there's already a definitive winner in the match or in the feud. It's weird that there was, if you know what I mean, because normally when you have a thing like a kind of a feud or a build or something like that for a while, yes, there's got to be a winner, yes, there's got to be a loser, but they try and find a way to have like, come back next time, we're going to do it again, Yeah. But to have a winner was very, very strange. However, Punk winning could be the reason why we get this turn from Seth that we were kind of talking about. It could be that, or Seth now needs to prove himself. So he's still going to turn heel, but it's in a way of, I need to prove myself. So he, go in losing his mind about it and losing sleep over it and letting it affect him. That could be kind of an angle they're going to go down. But yeah, match itself solid. They look like they wrestled very, very snug. There were moments where I was like, did he actually like connect there? And obviously they must have connected at some point. Probably the last GTS, obviously Seth was slightly bleeding. But yeah, hitting each other's finishes, obviously not getting the job done. That I really, really liked the final moment though of the GTS being hit. Seth kind of stumbling and rolling around and falling back onto Punk.
Very
Punk
different.
Hitting it. Yeah, Punk hitting it and then just collapsing onto Seth for the pin. I really like that because it's like they've used all their energy. That's it. Like it was pot luck, If he fell the other way, there was no pinfall. So,
I think
really
it's surprising that they went with that last set of moves really, because it's like he let him, like as a performer, he let him do that twice. But then at the same time, that's a good way to protect Seth, because you're like, it took 2 GTSs to take him out. So I agree. I think it was a really good match. Not the way I expected the show to end. Somewhat of a definitive end as well, as you say, because it could be done. I don't think it will be done. And it now could lead into Seth kind of getting annoyed about it. But it was strange that on the night, that's not what we got, So definitive, but we're ready to go again. And you wouldn't be surprised if something did come from this. It was just strange not to see Seth just lose his mind tonight. But it's good then. They're stretching things out. So now at the moment, go ahead. Sorry.
So I was going to say, I think also as well, we're now in this position where Seth needs to get this win over Punk. And Punk's already got that victory now. So Punk's like, well, I've already beaten you. Prove to me that you need another title. You need another shot. You need something.
I mean, even going into the feud, he was like, I don't need to face you because you was the champ last year. You had something I wanted. Now you don't, And then it got personal. So they kind of,
So and now he's already got that victory over him. It puts Seth more demanding. He's like he needs that win. That was his fuel to keep going. Now he's lost to Punk. What's he got? Because clearly he didn't defend the company that Punk was betraying. So he's not just let him down, he has let the company down. Everything he carried on his back for 10 years, he just lost. from that aspect. So I'm intrigued to see where that story goes, how they tell that story. I don't think they're done yet.
Yeah, no, I agree. Right. Thank you so much for joining me, Rob. I appreciate your thoughts and opinions on the Raw debut on Netflix. And I hope you get a good sleep because you are 23 and a half hours awake now. Sorry to keep
I am training someone at 11, to be fair. So it's not going to be a long sleep.
Well, thanks for joining us, mate. Rest
Pleasure.
up well. And we'll catch you on another stream soon.
All right, see you later.
See you later, buddy. Right. Once again, thank you to Rob for joining us and to everyone that's joined us live throughout tonight. Of course, on the build-up show, also on the watch-along, and now you are watching the instant reaction. If you're watching on demand, thanks for joining us here as well. Really do appreciate you. At the moment, though, as we are live at 4:30 in the morning here in the UK, it is the post-show going on at the same time. Roman Reigns is now on the microphone, of course, out there with Paul Heyman. Again, any big news that comes out of this press conference, we'll try and fill you in on that and let you know our kind of thoughts and opinions on it here as well. But as Rob says, it was a great way to end the show. I felt like CM Punk versus Seth Rollins is a match that should be on WrestleMania, and they kind of treated it like a PLE main event, and again, all of these matches, this had a really interesting finish, something we haven't seen, or at least seen that often, executed quite well. Then you also had the women's title, where a title change, of course, means that something big and newsworthy happened on this show, as far as changing over ownership or something. And to be fair, we got that twice, really, because we got the Ula Fala changing hands, or neck and shoulders at least, onto the man again, who is now on the press conference, Roman Reigns, in a match that I just really enjoyed. I did not expect any of these matches to go the way they did, as far as how much they put into them and how well presented they were. Now, it might have been a bit better because, again, here in the UK, we didn't get to see adverts. We carried on with the match, and it just therefore felt like a PLE to me. So maybe the presentation helped that, but I'd be interested to know if anyone out there didn't get the opportunity to watch it without ads. Did those ads disrupt the flow of these matches? Did it feel like a PLE to you? Because it certainly felt like a PLE quality show to me. I mean, even the way WWE treating it now, as I say, the post show is on. You've got a press conference going on there as well. It is not your average Raw, and it'd be interesting to see what happens next week, right? When we go to Raw number 2 on Netflix, which has already got a stacked up card as well. So, it's a good time to be a wrestling fan, guys. We touched on it earlier on. John Cena came out and announced that he has entered, or going to enter himself at least, to the 2025 Royal Rumble, and talked a little bit about what the future holds for him. We talked about this in a bit more detail a while ago on our 2025 prediction stream. If you haven't seen it already, go back and check that out, where we did basically fantasy book and plan out John Cena's final year. And he kind of alluded to some of the stuff that we've all been speculating about, maybe becoming a 70-time world champion, going up against people like CM Punk again, Cody Rhodes maybe. He did kind of flirt with that, which made me think someone was going to come out and kind of ruin the moment they hadn't mentioned. And we didn't see that. It just straight up talks about the Royal Rumble. But again, it was fine. The only thing that I'd say about this show, as far as a kind of, that's a shame, is the fact that there were no kind of surprises or returns or anything like that. The matches were surprising. The ending to the matches was surprising, which was great, which is, I guess, ultimately what it should be about, right? But each and every one of these things, I'm like, that's fine that didn't happen. But then at the end of it, I'm like, none of them had like a big, no Charlotte Flair, no Steve Austin, no Becky Lynch or anything like that. Let's hope we got some surprises coming at the Royal Rumble. But guys, I want to know what you thought of the show. Let me know in the comments. Did you enjoy it? And what would you rate this out of 10? If I'm honest, for the type of show it is, I think it's up there, 9 or 10. Like, it is a kind of show that did exactly what it needed to do, as we often say on this channel. And I think in many, many ways over-delivered. I think all of these matches over-delivered. This is the only one here. The women's title was the only one that I actually thought was going to be like a proper match with a proper conclusion. So as much as I enjoyed that, I kind of was more blown away with the fact that the other three all went down that route as well. Solo Sikoa, I don't know what it means for him. I really don't know what it means for him, because we had again as clean could be in a bloodline storyline, right? We saw that finish here, and The Rock, no shenanigans with The Rock, him basically forgetting he's a heel. It seems, he became babyface for the night, put over Cody Rhodes early on as well. I don't know what it means for Solo Sikoa. I don't know what it means for the new bloodline. Are we going to get Rock taking over of the new bloodline? I can hear this in the background, actually. Big E's speculating this very same thing. Are they going to regroup? How are they going to kind of pivot from here? One interesting thing I do want to mention as well was, again, go back to the production, that amazing cold open, which was shown actually on a curtain around the ring, which was really cool. We originally thought that was maybe used to hide the ring and its sponsors, but it was actually used as part of the show as well. So that was pretty cool to see. But yeah, all in all, guys, I got to say, it was a really, really enjoyable show. I can't really see much coming out of the press conference as far as quotes just yet. But again, if anything comes through, we'll try and discuss it on this channel if it is kind of noteworthy. But all in all, as I say, a really good show. A change to the referee shirts. We did touch on that throughout the watch along as well. I'm still not sure what I think about it. And if SmackDown are going to change as well. But a lot of change here in WWE at the moment. A lot of things they're going to try. Some things they'll probably move away from if it doesn't work out. But a lot of things I think did work out tonight. So all in all, a very successful show. And look, a great few hours on this channel. Thank you so much to everyone that's joined us again. We started live nearly 9 hours ago with our build-up show. If you haven't already, check out some of our clips from that as well. Then we had our watch along, and you've been joining us here on the instant reaction review. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Check out more of our content on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. I've been Scott on behalf of Lucas and Rob, who we hung out with as well. I want to say thank you so much for joining us, and I hope to see you on the next one. Cheers.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.